Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to unlock the mystery behind some of the most common, and frankly, most confusing behaviors we see in our classrooms. Because look, this isn't just about classroom management. It's about creating a space where every single student can actually study, can actually learn.
I mean, if you're an educator, I'm pretty sure you've seen this. Let's get really specific, because these are the moments that can completely define our day, right? You know the one. You offer a really simple, helpful redirect, and then, boom, it's like a wall just goes up. They're totally gone. No eye contact, not a single response. It can feel like pure defiance, but what if it's something else entirely?
Or hey, maybe you've seen the exact opposite. A pencil gets bumped by accident, someone says something in the hallway, and the reaction just goes from 0 to 100. It seems to come out of absolutely nowhere, and it leaves everyone, including that student, completely spinning. And then, of course, there's this student, the one who will do literally anything. Ask to go to the bathroom, sharpen their pencil for the 5th time, just stare off into space. Anything to avoid starting that assignment. We're so quick to label it as laziness, but let's really challenge that idea. So here's the absolute game changer. These behaviors, they're not random. They are not a reflection of a student's character, and they're not a reflection of your teaching. They are deeply, deeply wired survival responses. And once you get that, well, that's the key that unlocks everything. So let's start with our first section here, the brain on high alert. To really get the behavior, we have to kind of pop the hood and look at the brain. Because what we're seeing in the classroom, a lot of the time, it isn't psychology, it's pure biology. Think of it like this, it's a neurological hijack. When a student feels unsafe, even a little bit, the amygdala, which is basically the brain's smoke detector, just starts screaming threat. It takes total control, and the prefrontal cortex, the part for logic and impulse control, it goes completely offline. You're no longer talking to a rational brain, you're talking to a survival brain. So what does this brain hijack actually look like in a real classroom? Well, that brings us to our next part, the key, unlocking the 4 responses. This hijack pretty much always shows up in one of 4 predictable ways, and once you can spot them, you can respond so much more effectively.
First up is fight. This is the one we all see. It's the most visible, and honestly, it's often the most challenging. The arguing, the defiance, it feels so personal, doesn't it? But what's really happening underneath is that the student's nervous system is trying to literally push away what it thinks is a threat.
Now, what do you do? Well, the strategies are kind of the opposite of what you'd think. Our gut instinct is to match that energy, to get louder. But the real key is to do the opposite. Lower your voice. Give them a tiny choice, to give them back a sense of control. And this is so important. Avoid a public power struggle. The goal here is to de-escalate, not to win. Okay, next we have flight. This is the student who is physically in the room, but mentally, they are long gone. They are trying to escape. This gets misinterpreted as laziness or disrespect all the time. But underneath it all, their nervous system is just screaming, get out of here, this is too much. So how do we help them stay? Well, we have to make the situation feel more manageable. Break that huge, scary project into just one tiny first step. Let them know what's coming up next so there are no surprises. And this one's huge. Praise the effort they put into starting, not whether the outcome is perfect. That lowers the stakes and just melts away some of that anxiety. Then you've got freeze. This is the classic deer in the headlights. You ask a question and you just get nothing. A blank stare, a quiet, I don't know. This is not them refusing to answer. The student is neurologically stuck. Their brain is so overloaded that it has literally hit the pause button on processing. So the key here is patience, not pressure. Piling on more questions or instructions is like pouring water on a drowning person. It doesn't help. Instead, you've got to reduce the input. Maybe give them written instructions. Just sit with them quietly for a moment. You're giving their system a chance to come back online. All right, this brings us to the 4th response, and it's the one that gets missed all the time. Fawn. This student might actually look like your model student. They're super agreeable, they apologize for everything, they're just desperate not to disappoint you. But this isn't genuine cooperation, it's a survival strategy. They've learned that the safest way to get by is to just please the person in charge. For these kids, our job is really to help build their sense of self. We have to show them over and over that it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to have their own opinion, to not always be perfect. We're teaching them that their safety doesn't depend on pleasing everyone. Okay, so we've identified the 4 responses. Now what? Let's move into our 3rd section, your toolkit. We're going to move from just theory to what you can actually do in your classroom tomorrow. First things first, let's be super clear about what being trauma-informed is and what it is not. It is not about making excuses for behavior or lowering your standards. Not at all. It is about recognizing that a student whose brain is hijacked cannot learn. We provide the support to help them regulate so that they can meet our high expectations.
So how do we actually do that? Well, it really comes down to these 3 pillars. Number 1, predictability. Routines, agendas, consistency, these things basically tell the survival brain it can relax. Number 2, your own calm is the most powerful tool in the entire room. And number 3, connection before correction. A student who feels seen and safe is a student who can actually hear what you're saying.
I know this can feel like a lot, so please don't try to do everything at once. Here is a simple 5-step plan for this week. Just pick one student, watch them, what's their go-to response. Then just try one small shift, like lowering your voice. Small, consistent actions are what really build a safe classroom culture.
Ultimately, every one of these strategies is built on one single foundational idea. And that brings us to our final section, the mindset shift. It's all about the one question we ask ourselves in those really tough moments.
And here it is. This is the absolute core of everything. We have to move from taking it personally, from asking, why are they doing this to me, to getting curious, to asking, what is this behavior protecting this child from right now? That one little shift changes your entire response from being punitive to being helpful to being instructional.
And hey, if you need just one thing to start with tomorrow, let it be this phrase. Let's pause. It's so simple and so calm. It's not a threat, it's not a command, it's an invitation. It gives you a second to regulate your own system, and it offers that same gift to your student. It creates just enough space for a different choice to be made.
Because that's what this all boils down to, right? You cannot have academic rigor without emotional regulation. You can't have real learning without a foundation of safety. So the question isn't just about managing behavior, it's about building the very foundation where learning can happen. So, where will you start?